Hey there, and welcome. So today, we're going to talk about a flower you've probably seen 1,000 times. Maybe you've even got some in your own garden, the common daffodil. But trust me, behind that cheerful yellow face, there's an incredible story of Greek myth, a potent chemical arsenal, and a really surprising link to modern medicine. So let's get into it. For most of us, right, the daffodil, or Narcissus if you want to get technical, is that first amazing splash of yellow that tells you winter is finally on its way out. It's pretty much the ultimate symbol of spring, of rebirth and new beginnings. Yeah, its arrival is just one of those reliable, comforting parts of the year. A simple, beautiful flower that brings all this color after months of gray. But you know what? That's really just the start of its story. Because what if I told you this humble little flower gets its name from a story about vanity and a word that literally means numbness? And that hidden deep inside its cells is a compound that's now being used to treat dementia? Let's find out how that all connects.
Okay, first up, let's look at that name, Narcissus. Where in the world does that come from? Well, the answer is actually this fascinating two-part story.
So the name really has a dual origin. On one hand, yeah, it's famously tied to the Greek myth of Narcissus, the beautiful young man who was so obsessed with his own reflection he just wasted away. But on the other hand, it's also connected to the ancient Greek word narke, which means to make numb. And that's a massive clue about the flower's hidden chemical power, which we're definitely going to get into. All right, so to really understand how this plant does what it does, we kind of need to look at its design. Let's break down the anatomy of a daffodil. This beautiful botanical illustration shows us the whole system. We're about to check out the parts you already know and love, that iconic flower, but also the hidden engine room that's working like crazy underneath the soil. Every single daffodil is defined by its corona, and that's just the technical term for that trumpet or cup-shaped bit right in the middle. It's totally the flower's most distinctive feature, the part everyone recognizes. So what about the petals surrounding it? Well, botanically speaking, they're actually called tepals. A daffodil has 6 of them, and they're arranged in 2 layers of 3. They form that beautiful star-shaped backdrop for the corona in the center. Okay, now let's go underground. This right here is the bulb, and it's basically the plant's secret weapon. It's not just a root, it's this incredibly sophisticated survival kit and power station all rolled into one. So how does this power pack work? Well, think of it like a rechargeable battery. It's an underground storage organ that holds all the energy the daffodil needs to just hang out and lie dormant all winter. And get this, next year's flower is already forming inside of it. And look at the bottom. It even has these things called contractile roots that actively pull the bulb deeper into the soil to protect it from frost and from anything that might want to eat it. How cool is that? But here's the thing. There isn't just one type of daffodil. The Narcissus genus is incredibly diverse, so much so that it's been a real puzzle for botanists trying to classify them all. Believe it or not, there are somewhere between 70 and 80 different species of Narcissus. And after centuries of people crossbreeding them, there are now thousands and thousands of cultivated varieties. So many that, just keeping track of them is a full-time job for botanists. But even with all that diversity, most of them fall into one of 2 main patterns. You've got the classic daffodil form, with that big, unmistakable trumpet, and then you've got the paperwhite form, which is way more delicate, with a long, skinny tube and a much smaller, shallower cup. And you can really see the difference here, side by side. On the left, that's your iconic solo trumpet of the daffodil form. Then on the right, you've got those clustered, super fragrant flowers of the paperwhite form. 2 totally different vibes from the same plant family. So, we've got a beautiful flower with a really cool history. But remember that Greek word for numb? Well, it's about time we uncover the daffodil's dark side. Here's the secret. Every single part of the daffodil, but especially the bulb, is packed with chemicals called alkaloids. They're a brilliant defense mechanism for the plant. They protect it from being eaten. But for us, and for our pets, those same chemicals can be pretty poisonous if they're ingested. I mean, this plant is basically a tiny chemical factory. It produces this whole family of really powerful compounds. Now, you don't have to remember all the names, but take a look at that last one, galantamine. Just pin that name in your mind, because it is the absolute hero of our story. And this This is where our story takes its most incredible turn. The exact same chemical defense system that makes the daffodil poisonous also happens to hold the key to a modern medical treatment. And we are not just talking about one or two chemicals here. So far, scientists have identified nearly 100 different alkaloids in the Narcissus family. It's a literal treasure trove of complex compounds, and each one has all this untapped potential. So let's just trace the amazing journey of that one chemical, galantamine. It starts its life as a poison, a defense for the plant. Then, for centuries, traditional healers recognized that this plant had some really powerful properties. And now, today, modern medicine has unlocked its secret. Galantamine is produced as a prescription drug that helps manage the symptoms of Alzheimer's because it boosts a key neurotransmitter that's involved in memory. So, it all comes down to this. The flower we see is just a simple sign of spring, is also this incredibly complex biological factory. Its cheerful beauty is hiding a powerful poison, and within that poison, we found a treatment for one of the most challenging diseases of our time. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other profound secrets are hiding in plain sight? Maybe even in the plants in your own backyard.